Hello, this is the Ubergamer coming to you from his secret location, somewhere in the hills of Shangri-La, the fabled Shangri-La. I'm here with my army of trained ninja cats and kittens who eviscerate and slay all who rage when I destroy them. They send their pathetic armies against me. Ha ha ha. So, coming to an update because a fellow comrade of mine by the name of Donkey has released a video stating that after 4 years of producing high quality YouTube content for our evil rival Riot Games, that they have banned his account for hate speech, for calling out a stupid noob. And this is simply unacceptable for someone who would go 0-9 in a ranked game. Who wouldn't rage out, troll someone? But I too am done with League of Legends, and that is what this video will be about. I'll go over my reasons why, and also a brief history of my time with League of Legends. I started off in many years ago, back when Dota 1 was still a popular game, when League of Legends came out in League of Legends beta, and I remember playing as Heimerdinger with 5 turrets at once, and with Cho'Gath, who was a monster who could practically not be killed, and as Twitch, which was my main ADC, and I destroyed many noobs then. It was fun. It was a very fun game. It didn't have the best graphics, but then again, nothing really did back then. But most strategy games like back then, for those of you that don't know, Dota came from Warcraft 2. Strategy games don't generally have the absolute best graphics. They have very good cinematics, so it's one of my favorite games of all time, but I digress. Now, I tried to get friends of mine who will now deny this for some reason, that I tried to get them at that time, years and years ago, to play League of Legends. They did not, so I really played it on and off until finally they all discovered it on their own, and oh, this is the best thing ever. They were all loving it to death. And of course, like most hipster pricks that I am, since it had become popular, I had no desire to play it. I had already played League of Legends. I had already pwned noobs back then. Actually, the game was geared more towards fun and less towards being a let's balance every champion out to have a 50% win ratio or as close to it as possible. No, the people that made League of Legends, they realized, the initial people, the people running it now, don't head from their ass. They initially realized that there's something fun about getting a champion who will at some point be retarded and broken and overpowered as hell if you let him get fed. So that is the objective. That is why you do not let certain champions get fed. So this, excuse me. And pardon me, to take a drink from my delicious beverage, Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. It is cool and refreshing and delicious. Mountain Dew. So, anyways, they acknowledged that champion balance is not the most important thing. The most important thing is to have fun. And quite honestly, who gives a damn about whether or not a champion is broken or ridiculous or something like that? But in the years in which I had taken time off, I had played another game, which I'm loath to talk about because I actually hate it amazingly more than League of Legends. And I would probably give my right arm to state that you've heard of this game. I probably don't even need to say its name, but I will. It's World of Warcraft, and I played World of Warcraft at the time, and I read that they introduced a patch, this was when I was taking one of my breaks, where druids were allowed to have explosive mushrooms as one of their abilities, and they were invisible. I may be paraphrasing, I don't know if that's actually what was in WoW or not. It's been forever since I've played that stupid game. But someone commented again about this, and they said this was only implemented because of Captain Teemo from League of Legends. Aha! Who is this Captain Teemo person? Who could possibly be such a huge troll that he would run around and leave invisible, explosive mushrooms everywhere? That's unsportsmanlike. That's unfair. Someone might blunder into one of those and kill themselves. So I came back to League of Legends, installed it, and actually it was a friend of mine. His name's sure made anonymous because he's kind of a stealth ninja like that. But my friend was the first among our group to begin playing Captain Teemo, and then I picked him up, and I felt the power of the stealth assassin flow through me. It was like my Ubergamer level was like the Super Saiyan power that Goku and Vegeta and Gohan and Trunks and Goten, that they all harness. I felt amazing. I destroyed people. I destroyed entire teams. This was even around the same time that I also kept playing as this attack damage character, attack damage carry Twitch, and before stealth had been nerfed terribly, and I just destroyed people. I even had an individual in one game who told me, we will surrender the game. I will give up right now if you will tell me how you are doing this. This was a game I played as Twitch. It was so bad I defeated the morale of an entire enemy team that they would surrender just to get to talk to me to see how I was beating them so bad. And this continued. I actually was slightly known. I would actually play against other top players at the time. This was in non-ranked, and later on they would actually have learned to have used invisible wards to detect me. Aha, they can be taught. This was before the trolls came. By trolls, I mean retards, like what Donkey says. In his video, just to recap quickly, he says League of Legends pretty much consists of 3 people who are actually knowing what they're doing and 7 retards, which I can agree, it seems like every single game of League of Legends goes that way. And I played League of Legends for years and years and years, and I have racked thousands and thousands of games under my belt. I've played Summoner's Rift so much it makes me want to vomit right now. During that time, like I said, this was before stealth got nerfed. Captain Teemo got a huge nerf a long time ago. Twitch was reworked. I hated him. Other champions I grew to love were reworked and nerfed and changed and nerfed again and changed again. And the game as it was up until a couple years or so has not been the same. The most fun I have had in League of Legends in about 2 years has been during an Earth mode match, in which there were 2 Shakos whom went and placed their jack-in-the-boxes in the same bush, which then began to trigger on each other. And they continued sitting there, and these 2 jack-in-the-boxes, because in this Earth mode you have infinite mana and a very low cooldown. So one jack-in-the-box would pop up and it would shoot lasers, and another one would pop up and it would shoot lasers, and this one would kill this one, and then this Shako would put up another one, and they would shoot lasers back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It was terribly hilarious. It was probably some of the most fun I've ever had. I wasn't even one of the ones playing the champion, but I digress. A random game mode, something meant just for the lulz. That was the most fun I had. I had no fun from the regular games, the regular matches. I went on and on. I tried different champions, I tried different maps. Over the years, I wrote huge strategy guides, item builds that were impossible to beat. For a time, I had a tank Teemo that I could not lose. It was almost impossible for me to lose. I'll say it now. because Teemo is absolute shit right now as of how he lastly got nerfed. Mainly, it's a Nashor's. That's the little sword thing that gives you cooldown reduction and mana regen. Is Sorcerer Boots and a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. After that, nothing else really matters. What else you build? You could build nothing but Rabadon's Death Caps. You could build an Archangel Staff, which is probably a good idea because you'll go through a lot of mana. You could build a Necronomicon, or actually an Athene's Unholy Grail would probably be the best to keep up with your mana requirements. But back in the day, before there was an Athene's, I would build a Archangel Staff, I believe a Necronomicon, and Rabadons, and then I would put mushrooms throughout pretty much a good 1/4 of the map, and I would block off another half of my base. So I had the ability, with a lot of time, granted this had to have been 20 minutes of the entire enemy team not paying attention to me, for me to get this set up. I had one game in which I had 11,000 something gold by 20 minutes, because the enemy team did try and stop me. Excuse me. And they did so one at a time. They would come at me one at a time, and they fed me so bad that by the end of the game I couldn't be touched. It ended up being the highest score I ever had in League of Legends. I died 2 times. My final score was something like 30 kills, 2 deaths, and over 30 assists. So figuring that out into a numerical score, I got something like 60, which is absolutely absurd. Granted, anyone of any real skill would not have let me get so fed. Maybe there were people that skilled, but not really. Not in normal pub stop games anyways. And because of stuff like this, I did gloat a bit on the Riot forums. I would sit and say, this is what I do. I didn't really give my item build away, but I said I could dominate games if people allow me to be fed. And after a time, Riot eventually took and they nerfed Captain Teemo. They heavily nerfed his mushrooms, and they nerfed him again, and again, and again, and he continued to be nerfed until he was kept in a limbo state around, I believe it was 2014. Recently, this was, I believe, if not the most recent patch, then the one before then. Today's date is what, the 15th of September. They finally patched Teemo in a way that broke him. They cut the cooldown on his mushrooms down to 5 minutes, meaning that they literally cut his map control by half, and now he was basically worthless. I played all of one game with him to see the impact it had, and it literally sucked the last life of fun I had from this game, along with, at the same time, they had reworked Gangplank. He was no longer the orange-eating, rum-swilling, grog-soaked blade, laughing, goofy, comical, yar har hiddly dee, being a pirate is okay with me, do what you want because a pirate is free, you are a pirate. No, not anymore. He's all serious now. He doesn't have laughter, such sweet, amazing laughter. When he shoots his cannonballs now, it's just a sound effect. And it proves to me that there is no one left at Riot that cares about this game. There is no one left that cares about having fun for this game. There's no more fun for this game. And it used to be my favorite game, just like World of Warcraft used to be my favorite game. And for the same exact reasons, these online games I used to be terribly addicted to, that I put, possibly thousands of hours into, they were ruined because the game company refused to acknowledge that the changes they themselves made to the game will alienate their core audience and the people who first started to play these games, and they removed the fun. In World of Warcraft, the basic classic game, you have certain elements to it to get changed. In Burning Crusade, there's a higher level cap. There's a new race. Some of these are fun things, but things get changed. A little bit different game. Okay, there's more to explore. Oh, well, continue to explore the classic content. Oh, but now there's another expansion pack. Wrath of the Lich King. Oh, well, there's Death Knights. Oh, this is the most wonderful idea. This is fun. Oh, no, too many people complain about Death Knights. We're going to have to nerf those very, very hard. Well, why did I buy your stupid expansion pack anyways then? For content I still won't explore. It's boring. It's shit. Oh, but we'll change the entire classic world with Cataclysm. It'll be exciting, and there's a big metallic demon dragon monster from Warcraft 2. And never mind all this stuff about lore, we'll just screw all of that up anyways. No. No. I am so terribly done with online gaming, with having an online game be my favorite game. My favorite game of all time is a very strong tie between Shining Force, Deus Ex, and Final Fantasy VII, which, for those of whom have never had the pleasure of playing any of these games, it's like saying, I can't even use a description. Imagine any form of media, whether it's a book, or a film, or a video game, or a piece of music, Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, whatever it is, and imagine it's the best thing ever, and you've never experienced it. You've never heard that music, read that book, played that game, seen that movie. That's how I feel about every single person who's never played Shining Force, who's never played through Final Fantasy VII, or who's never played Deus Ex, which, my personal feelings of favoritism towards it aside, Deus Ex, or Deus Ex, I guess is more correct Latin pronunciation, is the best video game ever produced. Hands down. It is a first-person role-playing game with heavy story elements. It is a thinking individual's game, but you can play it several times. I have played it on every single difficulty, and I still continue to have fun and enjoyment and discover new things about it every single time I play through it. But the main thing with all these three games that has kept me coming back year after year after year is that nothing has changed when I play Shining Force. It's a turn-based role-playing game. I can play it exactly the same every single time. And that's it. I level up the same characters, I know how to collect the secret characters in just the same way, and the same elements I find enjoyable are still enjoyable. Now, for the same reason I love Final Fantasy VII, I can break that game like no one else. I belong on Facebook groups, and I comment with people that, oh, I have problems fighting Ruby Weapon, or Emerald Weapon, or beating Sephiroth, or whatnot. Can't even believe anyone would have a problem with this. In ways easier than other earlier bosses in the game, when you can't even get as leveled as you can back then, or have access to the items and materia you do later on in the game. But my point of this video, I'm done with League of Legends. I will continue to play online games, and I'll continue to pwn noobs, but for the amount of time and energy and effort and money I expend into these games, never again. I might even auction or give away my League of Legends account. I have well over 100 champions. I have likely 50 to 60 skins. I have skins you can't get anymore. Great Teemo skins. I might do a giveaway on this channel, who knows. But I see that my time is ticking down. I will likely go and play some other video games. I might go and play Battle Engine Aquila, which is an amazing first-person shooter game. If you ever get the chance to purchase it, I highly recommend it. It's also extremely difficult on its hard difficulty, which is good. It's right up my alley. So, I shall end this video, hopefully, on a positive note. I hope all of you gamers are doing well. The Ubergamer is looking to the future. Hopefully bright things I will be seeing. But for the rest of you, stay frosty, fraggers. Ubergamer.